Hi everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to tackle the kind of exercise where you have to complete a text by putting one word in each of the 8 spaces. In both the Cambridge B2 First and the Cambridge C1 Advanced exam, this is part 2 of the reading and use of English paper.
So here's a typical exercise. This one is considered C1 level, but it's not too difficult, so I think it will be good to use as an example. The first thing to remember is you have to supply just one missing word for each gap. Contractions like don't count as 2 words because it represents the 2 words do and not. So a contraction will never be an answer in this type of exercise. The second thing to remember is that this exercise is about grammar. The words you need to write in this section are usually one of these types: prepositions, auxiliary verbs, modal verbs or other basic verbs, articles, pronouns or basic adverbs such as to, enough, more or not. The missing word is not going to be an obscure noun or verb that you've never heard of before. Now, here's a list you can see at the top here of some of the most common answers in this type of exercise in the Cambridge exams. So I won't read them all. You can see this list: to, being, which, for, with, one, etc. And I'd also point out this what it says in the sentence at the end: a gerund, that is the form of the verb which ends in ing. A gerund is often the answer when the missing word is at the start of a sentence. So that's something else to remember. Start by reading the title, then quickly read the whole text. This will help tell you if words should be positive or negative. Sometimes more than one word might be possible. For example, if who fits a gap, then that might also fit the same gap. Either answer is okay, but don't write both. Okay, let's have a look at this paragraph in particular. The title there is the Hollywood star system. I won't read it all to you now, but you can obviously look at that in your own time. The one thing that I noticed when I read it was that all the verbs are in the past tense. So that's just something to keep in mind as you work through it. Okay, so the first sentence, they always give you an example, which they've done for you here. So the first one is there up in the top. It's of, so we'll put that one in straight away. So the first sentence reads: the star system was the method of creating, promoting and exploiting movie stars of early 20th century Hollywood cinema. Okay, on to the second sentence and that gap, and we've got: in the past, studios used something. Now, used is usually followed by a noun. For example, I use a knife and fork to eat, or I use a pencil to write with. And we've already said that nouns are not very often the answers to these missing words. So given that we're talking about the past, this is not used but used, which is a slightly different pronunciation. Used as in used to, meaning something that happened regularly in the past but doesn't happen anymore. So there you have it. The correct sentence for the second sentence is: in the past, studios used to select promising young male and female actors, then glamorize and create new personalities for, and then we have another gap. Now obviously this word relates to those promising young male and female actors. The answer is them. Okay, so that refers back to those. So starting again: in the past, studios used to select promising young male and female actors, then glamorize and create new personalities for them, often inventing new names and even new family and social backgrounds. And then the next sentence, legendary actors, something, were put through the star system, include Cary Grant and Joan Crawford. Okay, so that answer is going to have to be who. Legendary actors who were put through the star system include Cary Grant and Joan Crawford. Okay, relative pronouns are very common answers in this type of exercise, and as I said earlier, in this case that would also be an acceptable answer, but you wouldn't write them both as I have here. That's just to show you what is possible. Okay, on to the next one. The star system put an emphasis blank the image rather than the acting skill. Now that's simply on. Okay, to put some emphasis on something. So you either know that one or you don't. But as I said earlier on, prepositions are very common in this type of exercise. And then we've got probably the most difficult one, number 13, which is beginning a sentence. Something was expected that women would behave like ladies at all times, and were never allowed to leave the house without stylish clothes and full makeup. Now the answer to this one is it. It was expected that women would behave like ladies at all times. So this is a passive sentence where you don't have a subject to the verb. I mean, who expected women to behave like ladies at all times? Well, people in general, which is why we get this construction. It was expected, rather than everyone expected women to behave. It says it was expected that women would behave like ladies at all times. So it's not the most common, quite a formal kind of construction there, but still the word that's missing is it, which is obviously a very, very common word. Okay, on to the next sentence. Men always had to behave like gentlemen, blank, public, and the answer to that one is in. Now with prepositions, you either know them or you don't, or you have to make an educated guess. So as you had number 12 there, put an emphasis on, and then here you've got like gentlemen, they had to behave like gentlemen in public. So you've got in and on. If you had put the same preposition in two places, that pretty much never happens. So I would say if you've got the same preposition in two places, one of them is probably wrong, because they don't generally repeat a missing word like that. Okay, moving on to the last paragraph. Number 15, just blank studio executives. Public relations staffs and agents worked alongside the actor to create their star personality. And that one is as. Just as studio executives, public relations staff and agents worked alongside the actor to create their star personality, so they would work together to cover blank any incidents that could damage the public image of the star. Okay, and the answer to that one is up. Cover up. Okay, the meaning of that is to hide something, especially some kind of scandal, with celebrities or government, something like that. So it's a verb here, to cover up, but you can also use it as a noun. A cover-up is something designed to hide something so that it doesn't embarrass somebody. So again, it's one of those things that you have to know. But as you can see, like I said earlier, if you look at the kinds of words that we've used to complete that paragraph, they are all very simple words, lots of prepositions there. pronouns, relative pronouns, and so on. So I hope that's given you some idea as to how to approach this kind of exercise, and I'll speak to you next time.